What do you think you'd like to order?
I don't know, maybe just coffee.
Is something bothering you?
Well, I'm taking this class and I understand everything so far except I can't figure out how the scientists in this field obtain their data.
What class do you mean?
Intro to Anthropology.
I took that class last semester. Maybe I can help.
That would be so great. Okay, so I understand the 4 fields in American anthropology.
Let's go through each of the 4 fields and talk about how they get their data.
Great! Let's start with archaeology.
You'll recall that archaeology reconstructs human behavior through the analysis of material remains.
Yes, I remember that.
Archaeological field methods involve careful excavation of sites, that is, areas where people have lived or engaged in other kinds of activities. Archaeologists find sites by conducting surveys. This involves walking over the area where a site might be, and watching for artifacts eroding out of the ground. An excavation grid is established using surveying instruments. Archaeologists take careful notes of everything, including changes in the color of the soil. They make diagrams of the location of each artifact in 3-dimensional space. Archaeologists also sift through the soil they excavate, layer by layer, to make sure they haven't missed anything small. In the lab, artifacts are washed, sorted and analyzed.
How do we know how old a site is?
There are a couple of different ways, and the method used depends on the site itself and available financial resources. The most commonly used is radiocarbon dating, often simply called carbon dating. Radiocarbon dating measures the amount of radioactive carbon, C14, left in an organic object. Once something dies, it stops absorbing C14 through photosynthesis or from plants, then the C14 begins to decay into nitrogen. The ratio of C14 to N14 gives the age of the object, and therefore, the age of the site.
So that's why radiocarbon dates are given in years before present. Because they are not calendar dates but the age of the object or site.
That's right. Other absolute dating methods include tree ring dating and molecular dating.
How does tree ring dating work?
Dendrochronology uses tree rings to date archaeological sites where usable wood is found. A tree lays down 1 ring a year. Rings from older trees can overlap younger ones. You line up the rings from the wood in your site to ring sequences of known dates to find out how old your site might be.
Cool! Okay. So how do paleoanthropologists date fossil sites where there's no organic material to get a date from?
They get dates from minerals. For example, volcanic rock older than 500,000 years can be dated using potassium argon. Other methods include uranium series and thermoluminescence. Potassium argon and uranium series both involve measuring radioactive decay. Thermoluminescence measures the electrons trapped in rock.
So that's how we know how old the ancient human ancestors are, and even the dinosaurs.
That's right. We can only use radiocarbon to date things younger than about 40,000 years. We can use uranium series for anything older than about 1,000 years. Potassium argon can be used to date anything older than 500,000 years. It's most often used to date fossils found between volcanic ash layers that are millions of years old.
All right. Let's talk about cultural anthropology.
Fieldwork in cultural anthropology is called ethnography. The key ethnographic method used is participant observation, in which the anthropologist takes part in the events he or she is observing and describing.
Are there other techniques besides observing and participating?
Yes. Anthropologists interview people, both in depth and casually in conversation. Some anthropologists also do surveys, collect life histories, take photographs, or create films.
Do cultural anthropologists simply describe the cultures they study, or can they work on a research problem?
Cultural anthropologists go into the field with a research question or problem. Sometimes they are conducting a restudy of a culture that was written about before. Because all cultures always change all the time, they can study what has changed since the previous work, and try to find out what caused the changes observed. Sometimes during the restudy, new facts, beliefs or practices are discovered that were missed by the earlier study.
How embarrassing.
Do you think you understand it now?
Yes. Thank you. And I think I'll get a sandwich. I'm starved.